This Sean Puffy Diddy P. Diddy Combs scandal is pretty astonishing because here is my theory. Everyone in Hollywood knew about all of it. The parties were separated into tiers of access. There was general admission, then a series of tiers ending with entrance to the inner sanctum where the real partying went on. There's all sorts of video that's now emerging of Diddy getting very awkward with Justin Bieber.
Have you ever wondered about the hidden truths behind Hollywood's most talked about events? Well, Ben Shapiro is back, and he is shining a light on the infamous controversial white parties hosted by Sean Combs, also known as Diddy. These elite events, cloaked in scandal, have become a symbol of the Hollywood elite's extravagant lifestyles and loss of moral values. In a moment, you're going to witness Ben Shapiro exposing the unsettling allegations surrounding these parties and what they reveal about our society.
This is my going theory. Everyone in Hollywood knew about all of it, and not only did they know about all of it, they all participated in it. I don't know what else to take away from many of the pictures of these so-called white parties. According to the UK Daily Mail, new video has surfaced of Sean Diddy Combs telling guests at one of his legendary white parties in the Hamptons it was time for the kids to go home and the real partying to begin.
For years, Diddy's white parties represented the height of exclusivity in Hollywood. These events brought together a glittering array of celebrities, musicians, and socialites, all dressed in white, too, to represent unity and elegance. However, behind the glamour, these parties were said to hide a culture of exploitation and excess that was ignored for many years.
In footage obtained exclusively by the Daily Mail, Diddy, 54, stands champagne glass in hand like a dictator on his balcony. He says, "We fed you all, we gave you drinks, now it's time to enjoy life. This is a celebration of life. This is the real white party."
Shapiro sees this as a clear example of Hollywood's lack of morals, where fame and power often protect bad behavior from being questioned. He believes these parties weren't just extravagant celebrations, but places where reckless behavior went unchecked.
Then this thing turns into something that when you get older, this is something y'all gonna wanna come to. So let's just start to get our groove on, put the kids away, it's all good. All right, DJ, let's hit it. Let's do it. And the pictures of the people who showed up to this thing are just amazing. I mean, he was dating at one point Jennifer Lopez from like 99 to 2001. But one picture alone at one white party was Kimora Lee Simmons, Russell Simmons, Damon Dash, Aaliyah, Diddy, Jennifer Lopez, Lisa Zane, Billy Zane, Victor Matthews, Matthew Broderick, Sarah Jessica Parker, Andre Harrell, and Veronica Webb. That was the year 2000.
Reports suggest that Diddy's white parties were organized with different levels of access. General attendees enjoyed surface-level entertainment, while the so-called inner circle was reserved for those participating in more questionable activities. Shapiro argues that these layers reflect a deeper issue within Hollywood, where access and privilege often come at a moral cost.
There are pictures of Leonardo DiCaprio at one of Diddy's parties. There are pictures of pretty much everybody. Images obtained exclusively by DailyMail.com show a glittering guest list, a who's who of movie and music industry fame, all of whom have remained conspicuously silent since the music mogul's arrest in New York earlier this week.
From the Daily Mail's coverage, we learn about scenes of drug use and alleged sexual exploitation. Shapiro points to this as evidence of a culture where power dynamics are weaponized to manipulate the vulnerable.
In pictures shot at Diddy's penultimate party in 2008, scantily clad, half-naked girls cavort in the swimming pool. A tangle of limbs, they pour champagne into the open mouth of a male guest. These are, for sure, prostitutes. Okay, that is what is happening there. And, of course, not a shock, many of the female guests, according to the Daily Mail, did virtually nothing to hide their modesty. Again, not a shock at all.
One of the most striking aspects of this scandal is the silence of those who attended these parties. Photos from these events feature Hollywood heavyweights like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lopez, and Jay-Z. Despite their influence, many of these figures have remained conspicuously quiet.
Photos of the gatherings are like a time capsule of the late 90s. Howard Stern, Kelly Osbourne, Aretha Franklin, Leonardo DiCaprio, Martha Stewart, Jay-Z and Beyonce, Mariah Carey and husband Nick Cannon, Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson, a young Kim Kardashian. I mean, pretty amazing stuff. And apparently everybody knew about this.
Shapiro sees this silence as complicity. He argues that the elite's reluctance to speak out stems from a fear of losing their status or being tied to the scandal themselves. To him, this highlights the self-preservation instinct that dominates Hollywood's elite.
According to former music industry insider Tom Swoop, who has recounted his own memories of surviving at Diddy's white parties on his YouTube channel, the parties were separated into tiers of access. There was general admission, then a series of tiers ending with entrance to the inner sanctum where the real partying went on. This allegedly included sexually humiliating male and female guests on the promise of record deals or money. Swoop and others have spoken about the drugs that were present, ecstasy, cocaine, being snorted off the bodies of the so-called guests.
At the heart of the allegations is a troubling pattern of exploitation. Reports suggest that Diddy used promises of fame and fortune to coerce individuals into compromising situations. Shapiro views this as a stark reminder of how power can corrupt. He emphasizes that these tactics are not isolated, but reflect a broader culture of manipulation in the entertainment industry.
Speaking to Oprah in 2006, Diddy said that the entire idea of the white party was to, quote, strip away everyone's image and put us all in the same color and on the same level. Apparently, Swoop alleges that Diddy told one young artist to perform a sex act on his bodyguard in return for $100,000 and a record deal, before claiming it was a joke when the young man was on the cusp of submitting. Which, by the way, shows you how things have worked in Hollywood for literally ever.
For Shapiro, this is a systemic issue. Hollywood, he argues, has long been a place where the vulnerable are preyed upon under the guise of opportunity. He calls for greater accountability and transparency to break this cycle.
That people use the impression of power and access in order to get people to do truly awful things with one another. And celebrities fall right into it. Because when you're a celebrity, they let you do what they want, as a famous man once said.
Shapiro often highlights the corrupting influence of fame, and this scandal serves as a prime example. He argues that the adoration and privilege afforded to celebrities create an environment where they feel untouchable. This detachment from reality, Shapiro believes, is what allows such behavior to persist.
He's like patting him down awkwardly here, for those who can't see. Like touching his chest. It's super weird. Like tapping him all over to make sure that he's not wearing a wire. And here is video of Diddy calling out Bieber for not calling him or hanging out. And again, Justin Bieber looking like he wants to die.
Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you.
Fame, in Shapiro's view, distorts people's values and priorities. It encourages individuals to prioritize self-indulgence over responsibility, leading to the kind of moral decline seen at these parties.
Right. Okay.
My number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, you don't have my number. I mean, ooh. Not good at all. Apparently, a source told People magazine Justin is aware of Diddy's arrest and all the allegations. It's not anything he wants to focus on, though. He has been in a happy bubble since his baby was born. He just wants to focus on being a great dad and a great husband.
The controversy surrounding Diddy's parties isn't just about individual behavior. It's a reflection of broader cultural shifts. Shapiro argues that Hollywood's embrace of hedonism and rejection of traditional values have contributed to this environment. He links this to declining church attendance and the erosion of family structures, which he sees as foundational to a healthy society.
The number of people who are in Diddy's orbit, enormous. And I don't know how many times we have to see this scandal over and over and over before you realize that this is just the way things go in Hollywood. This sort of debauchery is normalized in Hollywood.
By examining the values celebrated in Hollywood, Shapiro believes we can better understand the root causes of these scandals. He calls for a cultural reckoning that prioritizes accountability and integrity.
It's treated as perfectly normal. And then every so often, somebody is caught in a criminal sting like this and ends up in the headlines. And it turns out everybody knew the whole time, which speaks to what is going on. This has been true since like the 1920s in Fatty Arbuckle.
One of the more unsettling aspects of this scandal involves Justin Bieber, who was reportedly a guest at these parties as a teenager. Shapiro points to footage of Bieber looking visibly uncomfortable as evidence of the predatory nature of these events. He argues that this highlights the vulnerability of young stars in an industry that often prioritizes profit over protection.
You put a bunch of hormonal, good-looking people in the same area, there will be some people who are incredibly abusive. But free people of their morality and give them insane levels of power and wealth, and it turns out they do awful things with those things.
For Shapiro, Bieber's experience underscores the need for stricter safeguards to protect minors in the entertainment industry. He views this as a moral imperative that cannot be ignored.
The story here, once again, as it was with Jeffrey Epstein, the story about Jeffrey Epstein wasn't really about Jeffrey Epstein. It was about who's in the little black book. Okay, the story about Diddy here is not just about Diddy being abusive and awful. The story is who knew when and what did they do about it. I mean, I don't know how many of you, I don't know when it became de rigueur for powerful people in our society to simply go to random drug and sex parties.
The Diddy scandal is not an isolated incident, but part of a pattern of behavior in Hollywood. Shapiro draws parallels to other high-profile cases, such as Jeffrey Epstein, to illustrate the pervasive nature of this issue. He argues that these scandals reveal a systemic problem that requires a collective response.
A huge number of these people have been fame disconnects them from reality. Fame eats them alive. Notoriety, the fact that people look at them in a different way, changes their own view of themselves and makes them feel justified in using other people. I used to live in Hollywood. I know enough actors.
Shapiro believes that society must hold powerful individuals accountable, regardless of their status. He calls for a shift in values that prioritizes morality over fame and wealth.
Human beings have an inherent drive toward sin. Human beings have an inherent drive toward pleasure. And when given enormous amounts of power and zero accountability, they'll either use it in all the worst ways or participate in it and look the other way while others do.
And there you have it. Ben Shapiro's deep dive into the controversy surrounding Diddy's white parties. Shapiro doesn't just stop at the headlines. He uses this scandal to expose deeper societal issues, from the corrupting power of fame to the decline of traditional values. His analysis pushes us to face these uncomfortable truths and consider what it means to build a more accountable and ethical culture. What's your take? Is this a wake-up call for society or just another celebrity scandal? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more thought-provoking content on today's most pressing issues.